that down for me, please. Daddy. Hey, go over there. I'm about to go put your phone on right now. Daddy, I think your friend's coming. Okay, go over there. I'm about to go turn your phone on right now. All right. All right, Daddy. There's a lot of chairs. Okay, we good. Shalom, Israel. We're gonna get started in just a second. Let me grab this real quick. It's empty now. It's right there. You see it? You just got soda. Go sit down, please. I said water. Go sit down. Daddy, want a color? Okay. Huh? Go sit down. Salaki. All right. All right, let's get this started. All right. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Thumb Bashem Yahshua to the sisters. It's Wednesday law class, and we're going to get right into the topic. Before we get into the topic, I'm going to read a couple of precepts just so we can get in the motion of it. Salaki. All right, so I'm going to read a couple of precepts. I thought we had a brother coming in, so, well, we might have a brother coming in, so I'll start reading for right now. All right. I mean, in order to start this class off, I'm going to start off with the book of Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 37. And it reads in the book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 37. Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. So, and verse 38 is, This is the first and great commandment. So it's real important for us to love the Lord with all of our heart. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't really understand what love is. So we'll get into that right now, but you know what I mean? Matthew's is saying you have to love the Lord with all your heart, your soul, your mind. So that's loving the Lord with everything. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? You have to go onto the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 15. So how do you love the Lord with all your soul and with all your mind? So we're going to get into the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 15. So the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 15 says, If you love me, keep my commandments. So that's how you love the Lord with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. You keep his commandments, right? So keeping the Lord's law, which, I mean, we got Wednesday law class. So this is important for this topic that we're about to get into. Now, the topic that we're about to get into, let's see. I wonder if I should just read this first. All right, so the topic that we're about to get into is culture and spirituality. Now, these things coincide with each other, even though people really don't want them to, right? Now, when people that are in the world look at the Bible, they look at it like a spiritual book, like it's just all about spirituality and that's it. But when we see this book, this is culture for us. This is our records. This is how we live our day in and day out life. You know what I mean? This is the things that we are ordered to do as far as our ways of living. So it's a complete difference. Now, if you go into the Christian churches, they look at the book as if it's just some type of just way to feel good. It's a feeling. It's a spiritual feeling, but really that's just, you know what I mean, a way of, it's an excuse to do what they want to keep doing throughout the week, and then going to get that feel good at the end of the week or the beginning of the week, which is on Sunday. But we know better than that. Okay, we know better than that. We know that this book is our culture. This is how we live in our day-to-day life, right? So it's a lot of people that that I see that they like to say, well, I like the way that the organization of the I.S.U.P.K is ran and how they go, but I just don't like the so-called spooky stuff that comes along with it. The topics of God and the spirit in the sky and everything like that. But what they don't know is that those things coincide with each other. You can love the I.S.U.P.K and how we run our organization and how we live our day in and day out, but it's only ran like that because of the spiritual side of this book, because we follow the laws, we follow the commandments, and we follow the culture that is within this book. This book is our history. It's our pioneers. It's our forefathers before us. You know what I mean? It's how we got into being God's chosen people, being the chosen ones. This is how we got into it. So we can't have one without the other. We can't have the structured organization without having the biblical structure that also goes with it. So the reason why we are so structured and the reason why we are so organized is because we follow exactly what's written in the book. So you can't love the organization without loving the spiritual side in it also. The Lord ordained us to have a way of living. He ordained us to have a way of how we live our day to day, day in and day out. So because the Lord ordained this, and we follow the spiritual side of it as well as the cultural side, it goes hand in hand with us. So you see how we see how we run, and you see how we treat our brothers, and how we love each other, and how we can all get together with no drama, no strife towards each other. And if there is an issue, we learn how to fix that right away. The reason why there's no fights and strife and people hating one another is because we follow the spiritual side just as well as the cultural side of the Bible. So you can't have one without the other. Just as well as anything else, as far as the fake religions you see of other nations serving living their cultural life. You know what I mean? When you got the Chinese, they follow Buddha. You know what I mean? They feel like they're peaceable people. Like they try to live peacefully and all that stuff. Like their culture goes with their way of living. That's why they're able to eat whatever they want to. That's why they're able to do the things that they do, is because of the spiritual side of whatever they believe in, and it coincides with the cultural side. Now you got Hindu, you know what I mean? Hindu, you got what, Shiva, God dang it, I forgot that other one's name. But you got all these different spiritual entities that Hindus follow that go with their cultural ways of living. And then the same thing when you got Muslims. Muslims think that they follow the God of Abraham, but and because they feel like they come from, well, they know that they come from Ishmael, so they feel like they serve him in a particular way, which is why they got the Quran, and they follow whatever's in the Quran. They don't really follow what's in the Bible. They follow whatever's in the Quran. So they'll follow certain things like not eating pork, and just certain things like facing the east, I think, and stuff like that. But really, they adopted, or I could say stole, our heritage, our culture, our spirituality, and tried to mix it in with their ways of living. And now they have their own particular ways of how they live and what they follow. They whole little praying 5 times a day, and you know what I mean, going to the cobblestone and circling like 7 times or something like that. All these things go with their culture, how they dress, how they eat, how they move. Like same thing with us. I mean, not to try to have any type of comparison, but we actually serve a true power, a true living power, a true living God. And those things that are cultural, those things that are spiritual to some people are cultural to us, because we actually follow this Bible wholeheartedly. This Bible is cultural to us. It's the things that are in this book is what we serve. It's the way we eat, the way we treat each other, the way we dress, all these things. You know what I mean? We'll get into that right now, but I just wanted to get that little intro. But we'll go to the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. Jay, is that phone on? Okay, just let y'all. She's coming right now. All right. So the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6 says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children." So our people are ignorant to the fact that the Bible is not just all spiritual. It's cultural. It's our history. It's our pioneers. It's our forefathers. We're ignorant to the fact of that, and we're lost because of it. So we don't know how to live. We don't know what type of routines to follow or what type of God to serve because we are ignorant and we follow the ways of the heathen. So that's a big mishap on our part um because our history was taken away from us. At a point we knew who we were. At a point we knew which God to serve. We knew what to do. We knew what type of lifestyle we should be living and what type of people we should be. We knew that at a time period, and we allowed ourselves to be captured and be in captivity because we decided to turn away from our culture. We decided to turn away from the laws that the Lord gave us. So because of that, now we follow heathen customs, culture, ways. Now we eat all sorts of just mess that they give to us. You know what I mean? Pig, crab, shrimp, and lobster. All these things, they've been killing us since the day we started shoving it down our mouth. You know what I mean? But this is heathen custom. This is heathen culture. We followed these things. We followed other people's cultures, and it's only been leading us to death ever since. So we would sit there and we would eat certain things. We would dress a certain way. We would allow people to tell us how to dress, how to live, how to think, what to be, what type. They even took our emotions and manipulated that and gave us different reasons to be angry and upset and all these different things. But really, if we were to live the way that the Lord ordained us to live, then we would have a fulfilling lifestyle. But we don't have that because our culture was taken from us. Our culture was taken from us, and we completely just lost who we were. After generations and generations and generations, we completely lost who we were. So we had what happened to us in slavery. You know what I mean? We were taken here. We were stripped of everything. You know what I mean? We were stripped of our manhood, our womanhood, our masculinity. You know what I mean? Our God, our traditions, our language. We were stripped of all those things to the point where we completely forgotten. And even that, they told us that we were Hamites. They gave us a culture to follow, knowing that it had absolutely nothing to do with us. They gave us a culture to follow. They told us that we were Hamites. And so we believe that we believe that we originated in Africa. So thinking that we were just lost souls, just people wanting to have some type of structure or some type of personality, some type of anything. We would latch on to anything that they gave us. And what did they give us? What did they give us? They gave us particular things that could destroy us. Like, let's go, for instance, like we thought that, we say that rap is black culture. Okay. But what happened with that? It was easily taken from us. It was easily given to heathen nations. And what did they do after that? They made us talk about nothing but destruction, doing drugs, sleeping with whores, you know what I mean, killing your brother, all these things. All these things were taken from us, and all these things were pushed on us so that we could destroy each other. We can continue to be destroyed just as much as we were destroyed in slavery. So they keep us at the bottom by manipulating our ignorance to what culture we should follow. But the Bible is really what our culture is and what we should follow. And we don't know that because, I mean, we decided to follow different cultures. Now you get into the story with Adam and Eve, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The church will teach you that, you know what I mean, Eve ate a fruit and gave it to Adam, and they became naked and they ran around the wilderness naked and running from God. That's not how it went. You know what I mean? Eve followed different customs from heathen nations, from different nations. She was following things that the Lord told us not to follow. The Lord gave us order not to do. And she followed those things, and Adam followed right behind her. And
They were ashamed because they got caught up doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. So that's really how the book of Genesis goes. The beginning story with Adam and Eve. It's because Eve wanted to follow different cultures, or she came accustomed to different cultures that had absolutely nothing to do with this. Now it's time for us to be able to follow our own culture. We follow, if we can follow our culture and our customs wholeheartedly, follow our God wholeheartedly, then we don't have to worry about continuously being in poverty, being in captivity, having to keep dying on these streets, having to keep dealing with people being over us. You know what I mean? This is the thing. This is the type of culture that we are supposed to follow, which is in this book. And I'll go through a couple of things, Lucky. Let me see. So let's just get into the beginning of it, which is Exodus 20 and 1. So yeah, just going through it again, like everything was taken from us during the time period of slavery. You know what I mean? When we were put in captivity, our language was taken, our ways of writing, our everything we did, all of our everything that was a part of our culture was taken from us. You know what I mean? So we're gonna go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse chapter 20. Let's see, 20 and 1. Exodus chapter 20 and 1. And it says, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness, or anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me. So it's an abomination to follow different cultures from different heathen nations. When you sit up and you call yourself a Sagittarius or a Leo or a Gemini or things like that, you're following a heathen custom because you believe in that wholeheartedly. You believe that because you're a Sagittarius that you have two different personalities, or because you're a Scorpio that you's a freak and a hoe. You know what I mean? Or because you're a Leo that you're stubborn and that you are independent or some stupid stuff like that. Like anything that everybody can agree to, but they just put it in words where it just feels like you're the special one. You know what I mean? Because you were born in this particular month. Like all those things, those are heathen customs. That's a heathen culture. That's not our culture. None of you guys follow the Chinese calendar. But you guys want to follow those things that got something to say about your personality, make you feel special about yourself. I mean, those things have absolutely nothing to do with us. So it's nothing that we should follow because it has nothing to do with us. But because of our ignorance of not knowing what our culture is, that's why we follow these stupid things. And that's what it is. It's stupidity. You know what I mean? To sit there and think that because you were born in a specific time period out of the year, that's why your personality the way it is. Like it's completely stupid. But because of our because we're lost and because we don't know exactly what Jay, do me a favor. Scoot close to that phone and make sure that you're monitoring that phone, okay? Thank you. It's lock in. But because our culture was taken and we have no culture to follow, like that's the reason why we follow these stupidity things. That's the reason why we can sit there and chow down and eat on lobster, shrimp, and pork and think that it's a delicacy because we don't know what our culture is. Now, if you knew that your culture told you that the Most High is telling you that you shouldn't eat these things, that that you shouldn't follow these certain type of ways, then we would have success within our community as a whole. If we knew that we're supposed to stay separate from other heathen nations, then we wouldn't allow them to keep destroying us, to keep us keep getting pushed into the bottom. We wouldn't allow these things. So let's keep going. But like I said, with the whole thing of following the zodiac signs, and our people thinking that we're Egyptians and following Egyptology and doing a whole bunch of incest and homosexual things and child molesting things just because we feel like that we are part of Egyptian culture, and all these different heathen nations. All of them got some type of base that has something to do with what we're not supposed to do. And what we're not supposed to follow. All these things have a base to them. So it's our duty to get back into what really our culture is. And that's pretty much the whole reason of this class, is just to open our eyes up to see that, the Bible is not just a spiritual book. It's a cultural book. It's the Lord choosing his people and giving them a way to live and a way and rules of what to do, and making us above everybody else. You okay, Mom? Hey, are you okay? What are you scratching? Okay, okay. So like it. So it's very important that we get into these things and know these things. But let's get into it. Mm, let's get into Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. So the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So the Lord chose us to be different from everybody else. So our culture, the way we live, should be different from everybody else. The things we do should be different from everybody else. Now, it'll come a time period where we're at rule and people have no choice but to follow after us. But as far as how we should live and how we get our salvation is by separating ourselves and living this culture in this book. The laws and the commandments that the Lord gave us is part of our culture. Now, all these different religions, they have these fake deities that tell them a way to live that they follow. And it's heathen ways. It's stuff that doesn't have anything to do with us, but we have our ways to live. And because we don't know our culture, we have been allowed to let our oppressors make up our culture of being hoodlums, of being thugs, of being alcoholics, of being drug addicts, of being whores, of being just very hateful, spiteful people. All these things, our oppressors have given us a culture, and our people being lost follow those things wholeheartedly, and it's not for us. It's not for us at all. So the Lord chose us to be a special people. It says, "For thou art an holy people," a separate people. Holy means separate. Hey, shalom, sis. What's going on? But yeah, the Lord chose us to be separate, and we have to live separately. We cannot live in a way that an oppressor told us to live. To sit there and be jailbirds and prison birds. Like all these different things. That's all they led us to. They never gave us anything positive to follow after. Even the people that they try to make a positive figure has still led us away from the Most High. You got Martin Luther King, who told us that we should integrate and we should love all people, and we should treat people the way that we want to be treated. But were we being treated that way? And during that time period, he was saying that. No, there was being stones and rocks thrown at you. We were being beaten. They were shooting us with water holes. Pay attention to your work. But they were shooting us with water holes. They were killing us. You know what I mean? They were disrespecting, you know what I mean, our women. All these different things were happening to us at that time period is because that person was a figure of positivity for our nation, for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And still to this day, we still celebrate, you know what I mean, his birthday, which is just it's complete ignorance because the Lord didn't tell us to love everybody. The Lord didn't tell us to treat people that to treat everybody the way that they treat us. You know what I mean, or treat them better than what they treat us. Salakia. The Lord didn't tell us to do that. But you got all these different figures that'll have you sitting there and getting killed and getting robbed and being how can I say, what's the word I'm looking for? Salakia. Being put in a mindset where you are doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. Um, we got these people doing all these things to us, and that's the way that our oppressor wants us to be in. That's exactly what position he wants us to be in, and that's exactly where he has us right now to this day. You know what I mean, and he makes sure that he catches us from a young age, and he pushes all of his different, and he uses us to push his narrative also. He pushes all these different narratives and all these different ways of thinking and ways of living into us as kids. You know what I mean? As kids. And he uses us also. That's why you'll have us celebrating his holidays. He'll have us celebrating Christmas and have us celebrating our birthdays and make it seem like it's just a fabulous thing and it's fantastic and it's great because the kids love it and they get their gifts and they get the candy and the sugar and they get all these things. Shalom, sis, what's going on? They get all these different things and he'll make it seem as if it's just some glamorous thing, but really it's something that the Most High hates. He's got you right where he wants you. He has you clenched down right in his jaws because he has you exactly where he wants you, and you're going to follow and you're going to keep on passing those things down from generation and generation. Our people have been suffering for way too long now. Our people have been in poverty for way too long. I'm speaking to us as a full-on population as a whole. Because a lot of people think to themselves, oh, I got a house, I got a car, I got a job. You know what I mean? My job pays good. I got my education and whoop de whoop whoop. But I'm talking about us as a people as a whole. What is it? Okay. Go ahead. So talking about us as a people as a whole. A lot of people tend to forget that us as Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, a lot of people don't even know that we are the same people. I mean, there's been separation by our oppressors on that alone. You know what I mean? Trying to make black and brown wars and strife and make people feel like, oh yeah, we don't go through the same type of destruction and same type of poverty. Like we all face the same things. We're all being pushed into this narrative, but it's a lot of us that don't even feel like we're the same people. So because of that, it's just why we're lost, because we don't know our culture. We don't know our heritage. You know what I mean? So that's a main key factor of what we try to teach here in I.S.U.P.K. is what culture really is, what brotherhood and sisterhood really is. You know what I mean? That's the main thing we try to push, because we can't just give you we can't get you to fear the Lord and to follow all his law, statutes, and commandments if we don't live it. You know what I mean? So we live it. We show culture. The way we dress, the way we carry ourselves, you know what I mean? The way we do our day in and day out. You know what I mean? People hate us for what we do. If we sit there and say that we don't celebrate, you know what I mean, birthdays and holidays and all that stuff like that, people hate us for that. Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Yabashir Shabbat. What's going on, Atazon? People hate us for that. People hate us for not doing the things that they feel like we should be doing, because that's what they do. And that's what they were raised into. People hate us for that. They don't want nothing to do with us. They cut us off, all these things. It's like it. They hate us for that. But we can't change you unless we're changed. We can't push this culture onto you and show you that there's actually life within what we do if we're not living that life. You know what I mean? And that's what we do on our day in and day out. You know what I mean? A lot of us is like, you know what I mean, without this brotherhood, we would be completely lonely. It's a lot of us that have people just like everybody just walk out. You know what I mean? As far as people being in the world. So if it wasn't for this brotherhood, like we would be completely lonely. You know what I mean? But that's just the lifestyle that comes with it. That's the sacrifice that comes with serving the Lord. You know what I mean? People are not going to love you for living righteously. And that's just the way it is, because that is not the culture that they're accustomed to. They love their birthdays. They love their Christmas and their Halloween and their, you know what I'm saying, their gang banging and drug selling and, you know what I mean, going out to the clubs every night, finding different dudes to get active on. Like they love that. They love it. Absolutely love it. You know what I mean? So much more to the point where they wouldn't even take our God serious. They wouldn't even take our God serious because how they feel is like, what he gonna do? You know what I mean? All I gotta do is just say, oh, I'm sorry when I feel like I'm sorry, and he gonna forgive me for whatever I did, and I'm gonna be able to just keep doing what I'm doing. You good? All right, for sure. So, you know what I mean? That's the ways of our people of how we're living today. They wanna, you know what I mean? They're addicted to that pork. They're addicted to that crab, that shrimp, that lobster. They're addicted to all these things. They're addicted to that weed. You know what I mean? They're addicted to all these things because this is the narrative that was pushed on them for generations and generations. They feel like that's all they got. So we have to show them that there's something more. And there's something more within this book. Within this Bible is something more. It's not just culture, it's life. You know what I mean? It's life within this book. You're gonna learn how to live a full life and a righteous life. You know what I mean? Without that stress and without that drama. You know what I mean? Our people are just so like depressed at this time period. Like it's so much mental dysfunction out there. Like it's like I don't want the results of the way I'm living, but I just want to keep living the way I'm living. That's what our people are going through at this time period. They want a good outcome out of living like a heathen. And there's never a great outcome. It's either going to lead to death, destruction, or depression. You know what I mean? And that's all those things that it leads to. So that's why it's important for us to know what culture to follow, because within that culture is our life also. Our life. Like the ways that we live in this book that the Lord wants us to live, that he approves, is the way that we are going to get a full life and a happy life. I should use happy. Yeah, but that's the only way that we're going to get a full life. You know what I mean? We're dying at very, very young ages right now. Like it seems like the city of God out here. If it ain't gang banging or drugs, then it's freaking diabetes or high blood pressure or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? We're dying because we're following death. We're following heathen culture, which is going to lead us into death. The only way that we can receive life is by following the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave us. Okay? So let's keep on getting into it. And those laws, statutes, and commandments are part of our culture. So, okay, like I was saying, like, you know what I mean, our people love this type of lifestyle is because it's all that we know. It's all that we see. It's all that we are accustomed to. Our parents, our grandparents, our great great grandparents, they all pushed us into this narrative of feeling like this is the way that we're supposed to live because that's all they were given. And it gets passed down from generation, all the way down to slavery. And before that, you know what I mean, we knew. We knew what God to serve. We knew who we were. Those things were stripped from us and taken from us. So let's see. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. This is the meaning of life as it is so far. This is what life is to us. You know what I mean? This is what you're born for. Jaden, no, sit down. This is what you're born for, and this is what you put on this earth for. Salakia. Let me get this door real quick, and I'll be right back. Salakia, right back. Yeah. Nah, I'm in that class for a couple of minutes now. Yeah. Salakia about that. All right, so what we get into is like we're talking about the Bible not just being a spiritual book. You know what I mean? It's also a cultural book. It's our people, the way we should live, how we should live, what we should do. I don't know if y'all barely walking in, right? Y'all don't know what's going on. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I was talking about. It's just the Bible just not being spiritual. It's not just about God this and God that, God this and God that. You know what I mean? It's also about how we should live, our people, our pioneers, our forefathers, where we started, how we gonna end up. You know what I mean? Pretty much. So we're just talking about culture right now. But right now I'm going to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. And we're going to get into the whole sole purpose of what we're here on this earth to do and what we're born for. What's going on, Mom? Daddy, I think Jesus coloring. Okay, go ahead. Go color. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Right. So like it. No, that's good. So that's our whole duty is to fear God and to do his commandments. That's what we're put on this earth for. You know what I mean? So if you really want to get into the base of what our culture should be, it should be fearing the Lord and serving the Lord. You know what I mean? So that's really what the base of our culture should be. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be, oh yeah, fear serve the Lord, but still do what I want to do when I get my personal time to do it. It shouldn't be, you know what I mean, serve the Lord, but still I'm still about to claim myself as a Sagittarius and a Scorpio and all that stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's not what it is. If you fear the Lord and you serve the Lord, you follow all the statutes and commandments. So his statutes and commandments, he has certain rules and regulations of how he wants us to live, how he wants us to present ourselves, how he wants us to treat each other. So we're gonna get into that right now, actually. So matter of fact, before we get into that, can you give me Joshua 24 and 15?
Joshua 4:15.
Joshua, the book of Joshua, chapter 24 and verse 15.
The book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as far as me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Okay, so Joshua's putting it out there. You got a choice. You either gonna choose to serve the Lord, or you gonna choose to serve heathen nations, and that's just the way it go. You know what I mean? And you can choose, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean. As far as him and his house, or us in our house, we're gonna serve the Lord. And what do we get out of that? We get life. We get a kingdom. We get rulership. We get it's a lot of perks that come with serving the Lord with all your soul and with all your mind. You know what I mean? It's a lot of perks that come with it. You have to prep yourself for that time period, which the time period is now. The end is happening right as we speak. You know what I mean? That's another thing that is also part of our culture. You know what I mean? I don't want to jump the gun because I want to get into a lot of things that we do as Israelites and our customs and our cultures, like it. But a thing that we do is prophesy, and none of our prophecies have not ever not come true. You know what I mean? All the prophecies that are put within the book of the Bible have all came true and are soon to be are soon to be. You know what I mean? All these things will come to pass, just as much as all the things that were said that was going to happen that happened came to pass. So that's one thing that hasn't skipped a beat is the prophecies of the Lord. The prophecies always come true. The prophecies always happen. And it might come into a time period where you alive or you not alive, but at the end of the day, these things are happening. You know what I mean? And how we know the end is now is because of the prophecy that Christ gave what the time period would look like before he came. And it's looking a lot of like what's happening at this time period right now. You know what I mean? You see as much pestilence as possible being spread across this whole universe. You know what I'm saying? Like you got they coming up with different. They starting to run out of names. They coming out with so many different variants. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like it's this thing and it's the first time you actually seeing something that's able to just sit there and last year round. You know what I mean? And spreading like a flu year round, regardless of what the weather's looking like, regardless if it's summertime, flu season, regardless of what it is, it's been spreading year round and it hasn't went anywhere. And it's going to consistently keep spreading, whether you get the vaccine, whether if you don't, whether if you know what I mean, whether if you stay in the house, whether you put your mask on, whether you keep sanitizing your hands, all these things that you keep on doing to take precaution, the Lord is spreading judgment on this place and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Because prophecies are being fulfilled and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Christ will return and there's nothing we can do to stop it. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's part of our culture also is the prophecies that are within the Bible. Those prophecies have always came true. We went through our slavery. We're still going through our curses right now as we speak. And there's a time period where the curses will be broken, and we're starting to see the buildup of that happening. So it should be expedient to you to want to serve the Lord and follow this culture. You know what I mean? Because I ain't got no complaints of following this culture. You know what I mean? Like me not eating certain things and living a certain type of way, that stuff don't phase me at all. You know what I mean? There's just certain things I had to let go that I felt like I was attached to. And really, I mean, you're really not. It don't hurt to live lawfully. It's like it. So let's get into like a couple of things that go into how can we say Israelite customs, Israelite culture. Let's just get into a couple of things and see, like, you know what I mean? Like, really, these things are like, I mean, like, as far as following the commandments, following the culture, like, these things are not hard at all. You know what I mean? The church will make it seem like these things are hard because they don't want you to follow the laws. They don't want you to follow what the Bible tells you to do. They want you to just follow what they tell you to do so they can get the profit out of it. So let's see. Let's see. One thing. Okay, so a custom that we do within Israelite culture, let's say, okay, I'll start off with changing your name. You know what I mean? Usually your name your name has some type of significance to whether what was going on during that time period or what your personality is or what is to come with you. You know what I mean? It has to do with your characteristic or like when you come into this truth, you get in all black until you get your name. And when you get your name changes. And whatever your name is, that is what your personality is, or that's something that you're bringing to this truth. You know what I'm saying? Like me, Natazak, you know what I mean? My name means victory or victorious. You know what I mean? We got Itazam right here. Itazam means mighty. You know what I mean? I think Thabuans is he understands. And Vermont, what does yours mean? Spear. You know what I mean? Shoot, a war a freaking war weapon. You know what I'm saying? Like these things have a meaning to them, and they have a meaning to us also. You know what I mean? Like me and my name, I can't lose. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I can't be who I am. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like Ramat has to be a weapon. You know what I mean? Itazam has to be mighty. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different things. Like we it's like how you get like your hood name and stuff like that. They'll call you Baby Knockout or something like that. Like because you know what I mean, when you got put on, you knocked out like 3 different dudes, and there was only like one standing, and he was wobbly too. Like you know what I mean, so they call you like Little Knockout or something like that. Like not to compare it, but you know what I mean. It's like you know what I mean. We've always done this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing new. So let's get into a couple of our pioneers whose names got changed. You know what I'm saying? So let me get Genesis chapter 17 and verse 1.
The book of Genesis chapter 17 and verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abraham. Right?
Abram.
That's not it. It's Abraham, Lord.
Where were you? As you said, I told you Genesis 17 and 1. When the Lord appeared to Abram. Remember, we talking about how his name changed. You know what I'm saying? So he's still Abram right now, but his name is about to change, and it's going to tell you the meaning of his name in a second.
Genesis 17 and 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly.
Con, yeah, we're going to go to verse 7.
Verse 3. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Verse 5. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee.
So what does Abraham's name mean? He's going to be a father of many nations, right? You go ahead, keep going. We're going to go to verse 7.
And I will make thee as... verse 6. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee, and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee.
Right. So Abraham's name was changed because he would be a father of many nations. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what his name meant. And then not just that, he said, out of thee will come kings. You know what I'm saying? So it's also our custom to be royalty. So we don't even know that about ourselves. We spend so much time in the ghettos and in poverty. You know what I mean? For us to even assume that we would ever be ruling this world, you know what I mean? It's just like, seems like a fairy tale. You know what I'm saying? It seems like far-fetched. It's like, we would never assume that because of the things that we see every day, the hell that we see every day with, you know what I mean, junkies on the corner and people, you know what I mean, slanging and banging and people, you know what I mean, all these different things, just women just out here just dressed up in any type of way. Like we would never see ourselves as royalty. but it's also in our culture to be royalty also. That's what the Lord ordained. I mean, he said that out of Abraham would come many kings. You know what I'm saying? So that's Abraham's name being changed. Let's get into even the sister Sarah. Let's get into Sarah's name being changed. Genesis 17 and 16.
Verse 16. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yeah, I will bless her, and she shall be mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
It's like it. Yeah, so the Lord. Yeah, read that one more time.
Genesis 17 and verse 16.
Go.
And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her.
Get the phone.
Yeah, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Right. So Sarah will be a mother of nations. I mean, Abraham will be the father of many nations, and Sarah will be the mother of those nations. So those nations will come from Abraham and from Sarah, not from Abram and Sarai. Okay. So what else we got? That's a sister getting her name changed. Let's get into Jacob's name being changed. Genesis 35 and 9.
The book of Genesis, chapter 35 and verse 9. And the Lord appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padan Aram and blessed him. And God said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins.
Right. So we heard the same thing for Abraham. I mean, you hear that same prophecy for Abraham. So Jacob is the next in his lineage to keep the heritage going. So Jacob had what? The 12 tribes of Israel. So that's Jacob getting his name changed also. Jacob went from Jacob to Israel. I mean, that's the Lord changing their names. I mean, the Lord giving them an identity of who they are and what their purpose will be, or what their purpose was at that time. I mean, so let's get into even when we gave our names, it still had meaning to it. So let's get into Genesis 41 and 51.
Do you think our names is probably our real actual names, like from the beginning? Because I feel like if we got the same spirit, we probably would have the same name back then.
Right. I mean, that's, because we got Dawadas, we got, we got like, so that's kind of like saying like, oh, because your name is Dawada, that mean that you was King David at a time period. So
no,
I can't.
I was trying to say that. I'm just saying like, I mean, I don't know if anybody was probably named Dawada back in the day as David. So
right. I mean, that's not really for me to call, because I don't name anybody. So I don't know the process or what it comes to finding somebody's name or what I don't know. You gotta talk to Cap about that. That's way above my pay rate. You know what I mean? So I can't really call that one. But as far as what I know is that ever since I got my name, I've been going through battles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Ever since my name was given to me, like I'm talking about not regular battles. Yeah. I'm talking about like scary stuff. Like, stuff that, a lot of people would have probably folded by now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and still to this day, I still go through battles. But it's not just my calling, it's my duty to be able to be victorious of these battles. And I have absolutely no choice. You know what I'm saying? Because if I fail my name, then I fail my purpose. if I'm not victorious on all the battles that I face, then I can't call myself who I am. I might as well just be my slave name. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what it is. And I mean, the same thing for a lot of brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be, you gotta be what your representation is. Abraham had to be father of many nations, even though he lost faith that he would ever be father of many nations because he wasn't having a son with Sarah. You know what I mean? He wasn't having children with Sarah, so he was just he would laugh at it, like you know what I mean? Like really, I'm father of many nations. Okay, you know what I mean? Like so that's all. That's all. That's the only way I can put it. I can't really say like, oh yeah, well, there was a time period where I was, you know, what I mean, not to Zach or you were, Ramak, you know what I'm saying? I can't say that because, I mean, only the Lord knows. Honestly, keep it real. So all I know is, hopefully, I was victorious, and hopefully, I'm victorious in this. Because good Lord. But yeah, okay. So let's get into Joseph naming his sons. You know what I mean, and the meaning of the names of his sons, which were Ephraim and Manasseh, or Manasseh and Ephraim. You know what I'm saying? That's on Genesis 41 and 51.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41, verse 51. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God said he hath made me forget all my
So like I'm getting there right now.
He hath made me forget
Toil.
all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim. For God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction.
So these, okay, so like that's it. But these are the meanings of Joseph's children's name. You know what I mean? Because during that time period, Joseph was given the prophecies of, well, he was giving the damn, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, it's in the back of my mind. But he was given the description of what um he already gave the description of what Pharaoh was dreaming in his dreams that was troubling him so much. So he was breaking those things down. Pharaoh gave him rulership over the land of Egypt. He was second in line, other than Pharaoh, to rule. So he had full on authority over all of Egypt. You know what I mean? And he was fruitful within this time period. This is the time period where they were in the land, in the time of harvest. So there was supposed to be 7 years of harvest, 7 years of famine. This was during the time period of 7 years of harvest where they were collecting, being very like rich within the land. You know what I'm saying? So Joseph was living it up at that time period, living it up, having kids. You know what I mean? He had two sons, and those were the definitions of the two sons, which were he said he named his first son Manasseh. For God said, He hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. So that's the meaning of Manasseh. And Ephraim is, for God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So Joseph went from being a prisoner to being a ruler. So that Ephraim that's a heavy name, and Manasseh is a heavy name. So, but they both have meaning to it, and they had something to do with their father. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead. You go.
Oh, so I didn't mean a sidebar, but I was trying to know what tribe was the Belizeans. That's what I've been hearing.
Belizean.
What would they fall under, like Asher or something? My red family, her background is Belizean.
Oh, Belizean? Yeah, so like it because I'm like terrible with economics. So I gotta figure out where they at real quick. What area are they in?
They like under Brazil, ain't so?
Brazil?
Brazil.
If it's in the same area as Brazil, then that's definitely Asher.
It says Belize is in Central America.
Central America? Yeah, so it's either Asher or Zebulon.
It's right there by Guatemala. What is Guatemala?
The Guatemalans. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see, because I'm like my mind is super blank right now. I always need like that reminder. Yeah, Colombia. You're what is it? You're
Asher.
huh?
Asher or something. Either Asher or not.
Yeah, Asher. It was, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's probably Asher. Asher or yeah, I think it's Asher, honestly. But I'll look into it and I'll let you know. Cause I'm like, my man, I'm telling you, I felt the hell out that classroom. And but the only thing about it is I haven't been anywhere outside, like other than going recently to Arizona. That's the furthest I've been out of California. You know what I'm saying? So I've not traveled at all, like at all. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? I like the water for this damn truth because now I get to actually go places around wherever. You know what I mean? Just to figure out like, okay, where is where and what is what? Because I'm like a straight hoodlum. You know what I'm saying? Like San Bernardino is my resting place. That's all I know. You know what I'm saying? Out of the furthest I've ever been was freaking other than Phoenix, I mean I've been like outside of California is just Nevada. That's it. Nevada, and that is it. Like I have been nowhere. Like I am straight San Bernardino cockroach. You know what I'm saying? But shoot, you know what I mean? Lord willing, I'm able to travel and actually figure out where is where and what is what. Because economics is not for me. But Salaki, let's get back to it. Okay, so we got into names, and let's get into what's the next thing. The next thing is circumcision. Circumcision is part of our culture also. You know what I mean? Um, circumcision of the heart and also circumcision of the flesh also. You know what I mean? Like right now it's more of our duty to circumcise our hearts first right now. You know what I mean? But when we get our kingdom and we're able to live under Christ's full authority, then maybe we'll get back into the circumcision within the 8 days of birth. You know what I mean? Right now it's just more so circumcising the heart because a lot of our brothers and sisters probably haven't been circumcised, or they've got circumcised, but they weren't circumcised on the 8th day. It really doesn't matter because you're barely stepping into the truth and you're coming out of the dead and walking into life. You know what I'm saying? So if you walk up in there uncircumcised, doesn't mean that you don't get that full share of life. It just means that, you know what I mean, now you get an opportunity to bring that life to your children and your children's children, your children's children, children's children. My son ain't even circumcised. You know what I mean? I was supposed to get him circumcised, and you know what I mean? I was working so much, I left it up to his mom. His mom did not do it. You know what I'm saying? So my son, he gonna he looking at me like, okay, then I'll see what you be doing in class. You sitting over here telling all my business. I can't even keep my pants to myself. He looking at me crazy. But yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna eventually do it. Just to, you know what I mean? Because I don't want him feeling like, oh, my daddy didn't do that. Yeah, they get, yeah. Late is better because that way you can get put to sleep and then you can just, you know what I'm saying? But sorry, son. Let's get into circumcision. The book of Genesis, chapter 17 and verse 10. 17 and 10. Yeah, Genesis chapter 17 and verse 10. So circumcision is also a part of our. This is something that the Lord ordained on us too. Like this is how you signify. This is how these are all like signifying who you are and what culture you're a part of. I mean, circumcision was also taken and adopted by, I mean, Amalek, who pretty much tried to steal our whole, I mean, ways of living, our high holy days, everything. They try to steal everything. You know what I mean, other than them adding on their little heathenistic portion to it, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, the what is it called, the brick or something like that, where they, you know what I mean, they circumcise the 8-day baby and they like they get the priest to do it, and he bites the foreskin
Yeah,
off and
yeah,
sucks the
I
blood
remember
out.
that, yeah.
Just an excuse for him to suck a baby's, you know what I mean? But anyway, you know what I'm saying? I think it's called a brik, something like that. I mean, something like that. But that's what they do, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean, you can't stop a heathen from being a heathen at the end of the day, because then the Lord didn't say nothing about sucking on nothing. The Lord said,
Yeah.
chop the foreskin off, and he said, you know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? He didn't say suck the blood. He didn't say do none of that crap. They do that. That's them stupid haircuts they be having with them little curly suit, little curls on the side. All that's they custom. You know what I mean? That's a heathen custom. That is nothing that the Lord said. You know what I mean? The Lord, he wants our temples to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? They wear them hats and stuff, and they cover their temples. You know what I'm saying? So they're nothing like us, and they will never be anything like us. They are a heathen Turkish culture, and they follow their heathenistic ways, and they had to make their own book because they had no choice but to be heathens. They had to add in their heathenistic ways.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get into the actual real circumcisions of why this happened and how we're supposed to do it. So it's Genesis 17 and 10.
Okay, the book of Genesis, chapter 17 and verse 10. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man or child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people.
Right. From his people. So before you start to think that us buying someone, like, you know what I mean? First of all, you got to get the definition within that exactly, but he's still talking about he would be cut off from his people. You know what I mean? So that being our custom, you know what I mean, he'll be cut off from our people. So meaning that those people that were bought were our people. You know what I'm saying? So some people were, let's see. Okay, so during the time period is
I would say, Salaki, is that like, so can you say that the Northern Kingdom kind of was like experiencing that? With us like being cut off because they wasn't.
yeah, but it's not at this time period because it's Genesis. You know what I'm saying? But at a time period, you know how like, you know what I mean? Even during the time period where they kidnapped what was it? Kidnapped Jacob's daughter. You know what I'm saying? And they made it seem as and Simeon and Levi made it seem as if they had to cut their foreskin off in order to be part of their people, but they ended up killing them. They ended up killing the whole city. You got it's in the book. It's man, that's the book of Genesis. I got it. I did it in the class. I did it in the class for the 12 tribe chart. Where you talking about Simeon and Levi, and I mean they were saying like in order for you to be amongst our people, you need to circumcise yourselves. You know what I'm saying? But really, they just were setting them up to be in a position where they had to heal. So they went and killed them all. You know what I'm saying? But that's because they kidnapped, you know what I mean, Jacob's daughter, and you know what I mean, I guess they was raping her and everything like that. Or the dude like took her as his wife, you know what I mean, when he was a heathen. He was a heathen, so he could never be a part of our people, you know what I'm saying? But they were fond of our women, you know what I mean? And they wanted to be a part of, you know what I mean, because we were in their land. They wanted to be a part of our customs and stuff like that because they were fond of our women. And Simeon and Levi was playing no games.
So Jacob had how many daughters? Like two, didn't he?
I got all of his generation in my notes for the 12 tribe chart. But yeah, he definitely had daughters. Leah gave him daughters, and Leah was giving that man
How many
children.
ribs he had, though? He had like
4.
four?
Yeah, 4. He had Leah and Rachel and their 2 handmaids. Zelpah and Belha.
You say he had 2 Hamites?
No, not Hamites, handmaidens.
Oh.
So Rachel had a handmaiden, and Leah had a handmaiden. So they both gave Jacob their handmaidens to, to wife them so he can have more kids. And that's where the 12 tribes come from. So, okay, so let's finish this off. So we got circumcision. Circumcision is a part of our culture. We circumcise ourselves at 8 days old, as we circumcise our boys at 8 days old. And from there, boom, you know what I'm saying? That's a representation as far as the flesh to show our love for the Lord and our representation for the covenant that the Lord gave us. You know what I'm saying? That's within the flesh. Now let's go into our attire. To show what we, our culture of how we dress, to show what our to show our love for the Lord. You know what I mean? Because the way that we dress too is things that we wear to show our love for the Lord too, and one of those things being the fringes. So let's get into the fringes. Numbers 15 and 38. So the fringes is what we wear, on the borders of our clothing, on the borders, not on the t-shirts, not on our undergarments, not on our drawers. You know what I'm saying? Not our t-shirts, not our drawers, not on the soles of our shoes. You know what I'm saying? But could you put on your shoes? I don't know. I don't know about that one. But on the borders of our clothing, you know what I'm saying? So if I got this jacket on, I got a jacket that's just like this, that Officer Thabawan's rib made with the fringes going all the way across in the back, and across the borders. You know what I mean? But a lot of fake Israelites, they wear it on their t-shirts and stuff like that. Some stupid stuff. But let's get into it. Numbers 15 and 38.
The book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38. Speak unto the children of Israel, and bind them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them. And that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring. That ye may remember.
Oh, no, you got I just want to go to verse 39. Well, okay, so if we got an example of fringes, you got this right here. Our UPK sign got fringes on the bottom. Like, this is what should be on the borders of your clothing. You know what I mean? With the blue lining right there. That's a representation of within itself. It don't say specifically what color it should be. It just says that the strip should be blue. You know what I mean? But it don't say specifically what color it should be. But it's just fringes. You know what I mean? So you're talking about like the.
Oh, I do got blue.
Yeah, kind.
I thought you saw black. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Cool. You know what I'm saying? So that's another way of showing a representation of who we are and what our culture is. You know what I'm saying? By the way we dress, by putting fringes on the borders of our clothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing too. And it says to remember all the commandments of the Lord. So we wear those to remember our commandments. You know what I'm saying? So you see all the Native Americans, you know what I mean? Their attire had many fringes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you look at all the old pictures and the representation of a Native American within general, you know what I mean? It's all fringes this and fringes this and fringes that. You know what I'm saying? So fringes on the border of your clothing in order to remember all of the Lord's commandments. So let's get into something else. So like it, because I wanted to be out of here by 8:30. I got a long drive, and I gotta get these kids got school in the morning. But let's get into okay, let's just get into the high holy days. High holy days, you know what I mean, part of our culture as well. And we'll make that the last thing for right now. Leviticus 23 and 1. The book of Leviticus 23 and verse 1. Now these are the high. This is the beginning of the cultural high holy days that we are supposed to celebrate. The feast days that we're supposed to celebrate, that the Lord gave to us as remembrance. Like, you got to remember, like, the Lord has given us all of these cultural things for a reason. Everything has a background to it. Either whether if it's to remember the commandments, whether if it's to remember the covenant, whether it's to remember wars that we won, um, salvation that was given to us, getting out of the land of Egypt, getting out of the captivity of Egypt. And shoot, I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I mean, when Christ comes and gets us out of this captivity, if there's another high holy day on the way. You know what I'm saying? So these all have some type of okay. these all got some type of memorable type of things to it. Like, it's something that happened, or something that is something that we should celebrate. You know what I mean? That we overcame. But we'll get into the high holy days. Every high holy day has a background meaning to it. It's a reason to feast. But it's a feast day and it's a reason to feast. But we'll get into it. It's Leviticus 23 and 1. We'll just do chapter 1, and then we'll just get into
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, we was on 3, huh?
No, it all kind of sounds the same, because, you know what I mean, it's the Lord speaking to Moses, telling them what we like. He's just giving Moses our customs of what we're supposed to do. Giving us either the law, or he's giving, but it all kind of starts off the same. And the Lord spake to Moses, and you know what I mean, and then he told Moses to tell the children of Israel, and it goes from there.
Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
Okay. Yeah, keep going.
Even these are my feasts.
Okay, so these are the Lord's feasts also. You know what I'm saying? So these particular days, which could be let's see. You know what I mean? Right, con. You got blowing the trumpets, Passover. You got the Day of Atonement, Feast of First Fruits, Tabernacles. What is it called? Pentecost or Hanukkah? Is it Tabernacles is a Hanukkah, right? Yeah, kind of. And you got Pentecost. But all these are different feast days, and then not just that, they're high holy days, which also being a high holy day is the Sabbath. You know what I mean? The Sabbath being from sundown, sundown of Friday, sundown of Saturday. You know what I mean? That's the Sabbath. That's the Sabbath day, and that's a day, that's a holy day unto the Lord. You know what I mean? But that's a high holy day also. You know what I mean? And we serve that every week. You know what I mean? And it's not the way that fake Israelites want us to serve it, where they just don't turn on you know what I mean, oven all day because they feel like, you know what I'm saying, you're not supposed to do nothing. You ain't supposed to cook. You ain't supposed to do nothing. It's not like that. It's the way that the Lord wants you to serve it, which is not putting anybody that is working under you to work. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you know what I'm saying, you can log into Sabbath service. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, I need to get back in Sabbath service. I miss it like a lot, but I miss it. But you know what I mean, slave. You know what I mean, we still in captivity, but you know what I mean, you can log into Sabbath service. You can, you know what I mean, spend a day just reflecting. You know what I mean, throughout the week, what happened. You know what I mean, take a time of prayer and all that, then you can do whatever you want. I mean, it's your day. The Lord said it's your day. You know what I'm saying? You choose to do whatever what you want to do with it. You know what I mean? Just don't sin. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. Don't sin and don't put nobody to work. I mean, for your gain. You know what I mean? Don't put nobody to work for your gain. Like if that should be your employee's day off. You know what I'm saying? So that is also a part of our culture. Also, is our. You know what I mean, you got American culture, which they celebrate birthdays, Christmas, Easter, um, Thanksgiving. We have our high holy days. We have our feast days. You know what I mean, we have our own cultural days. We are not supposed to celebrate anything that America is bringing to the table that they want us to celebrate, because everything that they celebrate has something to do with our demise, with our captivity. Everything that they celebrate, we celebrate Passover, and that is the angel of death passing over our children and going to the children of Israel. I'm Salakia, the children of Egypt, and slaying all the firstborn in Egypt. You know what I mean? The people who oppressed us at that time period. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we celebrate. America celebrates us being in captivity, us falling short of the Lord. You know what I mean? Us being under the curses. That's what America celebrates. America celebrates the killing of millions, hundreds of millions of Native Americans, and you know what I mean, and brutal things like that. You know what I mean? We celebrate our victories. America celebrates their victories. America celebrates their heathen, custom, cultural holidays, and we celebrate our righteous holy days. You know what I'm saying? So it's two different things. So our holy days are the ones that we just named off are part of our culture. You know what I mean? So those are the days that we are supposed to celebrate. We're supposed to, like, it's mandatory that we celebrate. You know what I mean? Passover. You know what I mean? And we got Passover coming up in Florida this year. I finally get to travel. You know, I don't like being on the plane, but I finally get to travel. So that'll be an experience. You know what I'm saying? So I'll finally get to go out of California. You know what I'm saying? Other than being in Phoenix, but you know what I'm saying? Phoenix is right next door, so it's not the same. Like, it's still the same type of environment and everything like that. It's just more quieter. So now I get to go actually to something different, but it's mandatory that we celebrate Passover. It's mandatory that we, you know what I mean, celebrate all the high holy days. Let's keep it real. But that's it. Like, those are certain little examples of Hebrew culture and Hebrew customs that we should follow and we should live as, because all of them have a certain meaning to it, and it's a righteous meaning. And then it's all because of the upliftment and the victory of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? The fringes, the circumcision, the language within itself. You know what I mean? Lashon Kodash. That's a holy tongue. That's a separate tongue. Us speaking our own language. Us, like, we already speak like slang amongst each other already. Like, you know what I mean? Not a lot of people know what an op is. Not a lot of people know what other slang words. What's the new slang words they got these days? I don't even know. Yeah, it's lit. You know what I mean? All these different things that we do. I mean, we've been doing this since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? That's just that's the way we live. Like, that's in our nature. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean, it's even like rapping. Rapping is pretty much speaking in parables. You know what I'm saying? If you watch battle rap and all that stuff like that, like, they speaking in a way where, you know what I mean, it takes away to decode it. Like, you have to decode what they're saying. You got to know what they're saying and decode it to know what they're saying. So, you know what I mean? Same thing with the Bible. That's why a lot of misunderstanding has been happening as far as people trying to break down what the Bible means. You know what I mean? And people are coming up with different doctrines because they think this means this, they think this means this, but only God's true people can decode and understand what is really being said within this book. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like, you know what I mean, Barakatah Yahweh Yahweh to, you know what I mean, the I.S.U.P.K, you know what I mean? Because you would never get the true breakdown. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even know what you wouldn't know about Genesis. You wouldn't know about Revelations. You wouldn't know about what Christ was saying when he was speaking to all of the his goddamn, what is it? Goddamn disciples. I don't know why I forgot that word. But you wouldn't know what Christ was saying, because Christ was saying himself, like, I speak in parables for a reason. You know what I mean? I don't want people to be able to just decode and know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Because anybody can get this knowledge, then anybody can just take it and do what they will with it. So, you know what I mean? As far as us in this truth, we got that knowledge. We were able to decode the parables. You know what I'm saying? And now it's time for us to live it. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to live the culture. It's time for us to live the way that Christ wants us to live. And it's time for us to live the way that the Most High put us on this earth to live. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say. You know what I mean? Spirituality, culture, all has to, they go hand in hand. You know what I mean? Our spirituality is our culture. You know what I mean? The things that God did for us in order to be able to get out of our captivity, the things that God did for us in order for us to be able to have a covenant and be a chosen people, those things are part of our culture. Just as well as, you know what I mean, Buddhists got their whole little culture of what they follow, and, you know what I mean, what do you call them again? Afghanis and all them, like, you know what I'm saying, East Indians and all them, they got their own little culture of what they follow and why they got the dots on their heads and all that stuff like that. It all got to do with their spirituality, you know what I mean, and what God they follow. Same thing with us. Only thing is, the difference between us is that we actually have a living power. Our power is actually real, and our power is actually, you know what I mean, working on us as we speak. And we'll soon come out of this captivity. We'll soon be able to step up out of all this madness all this hell that we see every day, day in and day out, and we'll be able to be who God truly put us on this earth to be, which he told Abraham and which he told Jacob, which is what we're supposed to be, kings. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be rulers on this earth. So, you know what I mean, let this process happen, but as this process is happening, follow your culture. You know what I mean, follow your culture, follow the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord put on this earth for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And, you know what I mean, we see our way through this whole little situation. But shalom, the water for y'all tuning in. Shalom. Let me see. We got it here. Okay. Shalom, Yahweh Shiv Shabrakta to the Salaki. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua to the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shamar Elatham Bashem Yahshua to the sisters.